In the last video I did, I was coming up with this workflow to create an invoice demo for API templates PDFs. I was running into issues where if I was trying to drag information from an input and put it in one of the new nodes, I kept getting this error. So for example, I'm going to copy all this just so I don't got to redo it all again. So I deleted out the API stuff since we don't need that. It's going to fail in the Google Sheet. That's okay. If we look over here, typically when we're using these nodes, we can just drag information over. So for instance, if I want to grab the invoice number, I want to go back to the loop node and grab the invoice number and paste it in there. However, I was getting this error. Error can't determine which item to use. Not exactly helpful. So I'm going to clear these out just so it doesn't error about that. But if I execute this, it gives me this. So paired item data for item from node create item array is unavailable. Ensure create item array is providing the required output. To me, that didn't make sense. Like, why am I trying to get information from this create item? No, I'm trying to get it from this loop over. Like, what's going on? So I did some digging. It tells me here, like, if I just read, I guess it would have been helpful. An expression here won't work because it uses .item, and n8n can't figure out the matching item. You can either add in missing information to the node, create item array, which is what I ended up doing, or use first, last, or all instead of item. It's worded a little weird, but I was eventually able to realize what it's talking about. So if you think about this, it's going from one item here. Like even if I had multiple invoices, it would still go through the same loop. So it's not an issue there yet. It's one item per run. Batch size is 1. So one item. It then gets the products. It gets the items for the invoice. So at this point, it is now sending out 4 items. Once it gets the 4 items, it goes to here to create the array of the items and filters out the stuff that doesn't work, so we get the appropriate amount of items back. But then if you look, it's outputting 1 item. So if I was to add in a node here, just a set node, for example, I can do what I wanted to do. So this is back where there's 4 items still right now. If I drag over invoice number, for instance, I get 1. That's what I expected. That's what I wanted. If I go after, where'd it go? Oh, it's way down here. Okay. If I go after this code node and try to do the same thing, so if I go to set node and do the same thing, so go back to the loop node and drag over the invoice items, it's now giving me an error. Can't determine which item to use. If I execute this, I get the same kind of information. So it's essentially saying that you either need to give this node, create items array, the information that you're looking for, which is what I ended up doing, or you need to tell it which pair to use. So instead of item, so this .item is actually what's in this JSON information. So this .item, if I was to replace this with first, I now get 1. That took me way too long to figure out. I asked ChatGPT, it's like, give me this different formatting and put in the arrays and stuff. I'm like, yeah, it works, but like, it's not exactly convenient to remember. So you just got to replace item with first or last or all, and then give it a specific index. So even if you had multiple items in your invoice and it's looping through, as long as it's one item at a time, it's always going to be first or last. So you can either use first or .last or .all. You can do all and then parentheses and then brackets, or whichever index. So their arrays are 0 indexed. So 0 is going to be the first. If I try to delete that and put a 1, it's probably not going to find anything. Yeah, undefined. So keep that in mind. Again, that took a lot longer than it should have. It was confusing because it was asking about this node, but I was trying to get information from this node, this loop over item. So if you read it and you understand it, it makes more sense, but I figured I'd at least make this video to explain it. Okay, so say you did want to use a merge node instead of dealing with the extra code, or maybe you don't have access to the code node. Maybe it's some other thing that's converting it and you're still getting that error. And in that case, you would use the merge right before where you're going to need it. So like in this case, we need it in the Google Sheets. We want to click on the plus. We'll put in a merge node. And then we want to choose the mode. We want to switch that to combine. And combine by, we want to switch that to all possible combinations. That way it's going to give you everything. And for cleanliness, we're going to move these up. And then since I'm trying to get information from this loop node, we want to drag from there, put it into input 2. And if I was to execute this, it's going to go down one of these first, apparently that one first, then go up this one. Okay, so then on the merge node, we then have, this is the stuff from the loop node, which is what we merged over. So all this stuff's the same. And then this is the stuff from the code node. So if I was to come over to the code node and take this out, just so we have a better understanding here. So now we should just get the items out of here, which we did. If we go over to the merge node and execute this one, we will now have just the items and then the stuff from the loop. So that's an alternative way. And then from the Google Sheets or whatever node you're trying to work with later, you would just drag from this merge node instead of the code node. So if you want to grab the invoice name, for instance, invoice number, plop it in there and it works. So that's an alternative way as well, if you do want to use the merge node. Alternatively, this is the other approach. So if you didn't want to do that dot first, you can just put in, like, give it a value or a variable. In this case, I made an invoice and named the node I wanted to get the information from, which was loop, and then gave it the first and then the JSON. So it's going to return all the JSON information. In here, it doesn't touch invoice at all. I just return invoice. So then if I didn't want to have to worry about changing that for our items to first or whatever, I can just go back to here, grab invoice, grab the row number, and now it works fine. 2 different ways, it tells you that here, but for whatever reason, I just couldn't comprehend that. Hopefully that helps. Hopefully that saves you a little bit of a headache and time. If you have any comments, please leave them in the comments below. If you have any suggestions for future videos, leave them there as well. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.